Well, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Kent Hovind. I was a high school science teacher for 15 years, and now I travel around the world and talk about creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. In videotape number 2 of my series, we talked about dinosaurs and how they're mentioned in the Bible and how they're mentioned all through history. And tonight I want to talk about something just a little different. Leviathan, the fire-breathing dragon mentioned in Job chapter 41. Pretty neat chapter. You ought to read that one. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But when I was in 7th grade, I forget if it was the 4th or 5th time through, I was raised in East Peoria, Illinois, and my friend David came over to visit one night, or one afternoon, a real hot July afternoon. And we were horsing around, and you know how 7th graders are. They don't pay attention to the time very well. And anyway, we played too long. Came time for David to go home, and he forgot to go home. And started to get toward dark. And David said, Kent, what am I going to do? It's going to be dark in 20 minutes. I got to ride my bike down Highway 150 for 3 miles. I can't get home in 20 minutes. And I don't want to ride down Highway 150 in the dark. I said, well, David, I'll take care of it. Let me go talk to my mom. I went and talked to Mom and said, Mom, listen, we got a problem. David needs to get his bike home, and it's going to be dark, and he doesn't want to ride down the highway in the dark. So how about, since the bike won't fit in the Volkswagen, you let me sit on the bike and hang on to the side of the Volkswagen, and you can pull us down the highway and get us home quicker. And my mom said, absolutely not. That's the dumbest idea I ever heard of in my life. But you kids know how it is. If you beg your parents long enough, you can talk them into just about anything. How many know what I'm talking about? You just keep begging and begging. Oh, come on, Mom. Come on, Mom. I said, Mom, come on. Just do it one time. I said, my brothers do it with me all the time. And they did. I had 2 older brothers. They used to let me hang on the side of their car, and they'd pull me around the neighborhood. Looking back on it now, I realize they were trying to kill me. But at the time, I didn't know that. And I thought, hey, this is fun, you know. So finally I said, come on, Mom, and I talked her into it. Against her better judgment, my mom said, okay, let's go. So I sat on David's 5-speed bike and held on to the side of the Volkswagen, and she started pulling me down Highway 150 from East Peoria to Morton, Illinois. Back in those days, Highway 150 was a tar and gravel road. Have you ever seen those? They spray the tar down and put the gravel down, you know, and when it gets hot, the tar bubbles up between and makes a popping noise on your tire when you go over it. That's the kind of road it was in those days. So we're going along just fine, about 35 miles an hour. I'm hanging on the side of the car, you know, hair pulled back, tears streaming out my eyes this way, dodging bugs. I am not sure exactly what happened. Even to this day, we're not sure, but apparently the chain came off and got tangled up in the back wheel, and the back wheel stopped turning. And in much less time than it takes to tell the story, the bike was gone out from under me. Poof. I tried frantically to run 35 miles an hour. Immediately, I discovered I could not do it. And so down I went into the gravel on the side of Highway 150. But I did not, or could not, I don't know, it happened so fast, I did not let go of the handle of the Volkswagen. So Mom had been looking at me, checking up on me while she's driving along, and she noticed I was gone. She thought, oh no, he fell down. That's the way I always fall, Mom. You ever know anybody who falls up? And so now my mom thought, you know, he may go under the back tire of the Volkswagen. She had been dragging me in the gravel, and so she wisely swerved to miss me and started dragging me across the hot, bubbling blacktop. They took me down to the hospital. We had been there before on numerous occasions. The doctor took one look at me and said, what happened to this kid? My mom told him the story, and those poor doctors, they get to see it all, you know, emergency room doctors. He said to the nurse, he said, well, I want you to go get Bertha, Gertrude, Matilda, and Zelda, please. A few minutes later, in through the door came the 4 biggest nurses in the world. He said, ladies, I want you to hold this kid down to the table, please. One by one, they went around. Each one grabbed an arm or a leg. They're smiling, holding me down. The doctor reached under the table and got a bucket and poured in some Physahex soap and filled it full of scalding hot water and put something in there to cut the tar. I don't know what it was, even to this day. But then I could not believe what I saw next. He pulled out a regular Walmart or Kmart scrub brush. I thought, No, this is a hospital, man. They're going to have something, chrome, stainless steel. No, just a regular old plastic scrub brush like you buy at Walmart all day long. He dipped it in that hot soapy water and said, ladies, hang on. He began to scrub and scrub my little 7th grade carcass. My whole right arm, my whole right leg, right side of my body had been dragged through the gravel and then through the tar to seal the gravel in there. And he had to scrub the tar off and try to get all the gravel out. I want you to know I tried desperately to kick them fat ladies off. But I couldn't do it. They had me outweighed about 300 to 1, totally against the Olympic rules. So after about 20 minutes of him scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing, he said, okay, that's it. He's done. Wrap him up and send him home. So they wrapped me up and sent me home. Several days later, when we took the bandages off to see what was left of my little 7th grade carcass, I noticed something interesting. In my left elbow, I discovered some cinders and tar that they missed. They're still there right now. If you think I'm going to go back to the hospital and let them scrub this out, you are mistaken. I can run faster now. By the time they caught me, they'd be too skinny to hold me down. I intend to leave those right there. Doesn't bother me. Feel kind of weird having rocks in your elbow, but, not a big deal. When I die, the worms can eat around it if they don't like it. They're going to stay. I have no intention of getting them out. It's not worth the pain. You say, Brother Hovind, who cares? Well, I think we got a problem in America and around the world. I'm tolerating some rocks in my elbow